Welcome in, everybody, to another live edition on a Thursday evening of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and of course, DK in the background, the orchestrator, the
Conductor, right?
the conductor, the captain of the feral cat
maestro.
ship, the maestro, all of it. That's right. Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. First off, Glenn, how you doing, my man?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's we were just laughing. You guys were so right in your predictions of why we were taking a couple extra minutes. DK was setting us straight. Aiden called it. It's just so funny. We look up and it's exactly what was happening. What's going on, Baltimore? Mel, what's going on, bud?
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you guys coming out here. What's going on, Fabian? John, we're here. We're back. What's going on, Jackson? Yeah, I'm doing well. I will say, it's supposed to be opening day in Baltimore today, but yesterday, I think baseball, MLB makes the call on that, decided to postpone it because of the forecast. And then, of course, the rain holds off until, long after the game would have been over. And so there's a bunch of peed off Orioles fans going, look, I scheduled off for Thursday, opening day, not Thursday and Friday. So I'm hopeful. The Orioles, even when they're horrible, have a great turnout on opening day. Like, it's always packed on opening day. So I'm hopeful that we don't see like a 3/4 full stadium because people just had to work.
Yeah, no, it was a bummer too, Glenn, because it wasn't the first pitch was thrown like 3:05 or something.
Yep.
Early. I mean, the game would have been
done.
over. Yeah, The game would have been over. So that's a bummer for sure. And I'm going to laugh if it rains more tomorrow.
Dude, I want to see my O's, man. I love when baseball season around, they're there every night for you. I love it.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Shout out to the O's.
There you go. With that being said, the Baltimore Ravens made headlines in the last 24 hours and change. People are still talking about it. Of course, if you guys don't know, the Baltimore Ravens had their Liars Luncheon, their draft luncheon, where generally you talk all Ravens draft, some other stuff, but 90% of it, the meat of the conversation is the draft. And let me tell you what, Glenn, Chad Steele made sure that was the case. Through hell or high water, it was a steel trap in there. Talk to me about what the heck happened, dude. What's going on here, man? If any of you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure you've seen the clips on Twitter about kind of what happened, but Glenn, give me the breakdown.
Yeah. Well, first off, if for those who didn't see it, the Ravens, of course, had their annual pre-draft presser, and no surprise, the first question directed towards Eric DeCosta was about Lamar Jackson and the fact that he tweeted his trade demand was given to the Ravens, I believe, March 2nd, and nobody had heard from Eric DeCosta since that was made public, via Twitter. And now we've heard from John because he was ambushed at the owners' meetings, finding out in real time during interview that these tweets were coming out, but we hadn't heard from DeCosta. So, of course, the reporters asked him right away about what's going on with Lamar, what's the status, and he made it clear that this press conference was only going to be used to talk about the draft and not to be, become a Lamar Jackson press conference. And so he kind of skipped by the initial question, and then, the reporters weren't necessarily just gonna adhere to that, I guess. So they tried to ask John a question, and it was really about the draft. The question was basically with the scenario, and I'm paraphrasing, but with the situation going on with Lamar, are you guys looking and focusing more on the quarterbacks in this draft than you would have last year or in other years? And before he could even get the question out, I believe he's the director of PR, Chad Steele, most famously known for being the brother of Sage Steele, an anchor on ESPN. But he jumps in off camera, off mic even. You can just barely hear him as the other microphones in the room.
Well, and they muted. They lowered the volume when they started the arguing, the combating back and forth.
Yeah, they lowered the reporter's microphone volume so you couldn't hear him going back and forth. But basically he said, look, guys, they already said it. We actually told – most of the media was told before the presser even started that was going to be kind of the deal. But, I mean, Chad Steele jumped right in and cut off another question about Lamar Jackson and kind of left John looking a little bit goofy up there as he's looking over to the side in silence. And then even DeCosta to some degree looking over. It was it's certainly an awkward exchange, uncomfortable exchange, and it left some uncomfortable feelings in the room. Now they moved on and they ultimately asked a bunch of other questions, but I mean, the awkwardness, the uncomfortability.
Well,
Jimbo,
yeah, go ahead.
Why in the hell? Who in the hell said that this was a good way to make sure this didn't turn? I get not wanting to turn this into a Lamar Jackson, but Jimbo, could they not have found a better way to do it?
Yeah, first of all, I got to say that if anyone heard after when was it? Oh, the day of the Lamar tweet where John was left holding the bag at the table right when Lamar obviously dropped the tweet at the exact time they were going to start the press conference. Jason Lockenfora from 105.7, I'll just say it. He officially he owns real estate in Chad Steele's head because he bashed Chad Steele for not stepping in for 2 seconds and just backing up the reporters and saying, okay, like John hasn't seen the tweet. This obviously happened. This was a timing thing. He's not up to date on it. Like, give it a second before they kind of ambushed him. And now it seems like he was doing a little bit of overcompensating for being bashed for not doing that, right? So certainly Lockenfora owns some real estate in Chad Steele's head. But outside of that, Glenn, Eric DaCosta, similar to DK, is the leader of the feral cat ship. And Eric DaCosta needs to say, Chad, it doesn't matter if you're in public. He can say it in a nice way. He doesn't need to demean anyone. Just say, hold on, Chad. I can handle this, you know?
I'm a big boy.
And he needs to address the conversation and you got to repeat yourself. But simply that this is to talk about the draft. There's so many aspects to this team. We believe that the NFL draft is the best way for us to get better. And that's what we're here to talk about.
That's it. They could have even come out with a disclaimer saying, look, we'll take 2 questions on that scenario. Or they could have came out with a statement and did a full, hey, this is where we're at right now. We're still having conversations. We're still hoping to get a deal done, blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to be answering any further questions on that topic at this time. This is the time that's focused on the draft. The way it was handled was so, I mean, I don't know if this was, go ahead.
I was going to say, can we have DK throw it up here? I think it.
He has it?
Maybe didn't say. Yeah, he has it queued up here. Because more than anything, it's pretty comical, too, to be honest with you. DK, I'll let you know if we can't hear it.
With respect to this thing about
we can hear
it. And everything, just with the Lamar stuff that's going on.
Hey, guys.
Are you all looking at quarterbacks?
Out. This is about the draft.
Stoic. Look at John.
Move off the
So embarrassing.
We're not going to
about the draft. Are you looking at quarterbacks differently because of the situation's going on?
Yeah, I don't think we really are. I mean, we
respect.
I just don't understand how Eric could sit there in silence and let this happen. I'm sorry, dude, but he looked weak. He looked out of control. He looked willing to let someone else step up to the plate for him instead of taking the shots as the leader of the franchise. I hated that. I hated it, Glenn.
And honestly, it wasn't like the question was, hey, what's going on with Lamar? He was like,
it was
hey,
related to the draft.
We see, the situation's not sure at quarterback with Lamar. So is that change your draft strategy? It was a draft question.
Yeah, because it's inevitably connected to everything we do. The Lamar effect permeates the entire franchise. So obviously, yeah, exactly. And John's face, so stuck. He made me think of those, the paintings, the like scary paintings where the eyes move but nothing else.
Yes.
Just like, it's like,
it was creepy. It was creepy.
Yeah,
he was frozen. It like you said, it just looked weak, and that's not what you wanted to.
You would think that John Harbaugh, of all the people up there to have, I think John probably has the highest EQ. Like, can read a room, understand when leadership is required, and know how to navigate a conversation. I'm surprised that even John.
It happened so quick. I wonder if that was the plan going in. Like, hey, and Chad's like, hey guys, if it gets crazy, I'll jump in, because I got to imagine they were after the presser. I got to imagine off camera they were like, oh man, that was a rough way to start. Like, I imagine that they were going, "Ooh, he's got our back here." Like in the moment,
Yeah.
they were probably thinking, "Oh, what are you doing, Chad?" But you can't. It happened so quick that I, I think it was just a bad move. But further on,
Yeah.
here's what I think happened, and it disappoints me. I think what happened is they've come to a decision,
Okay.
and
Oh boy.
they didn't want to get up there and have to tell a bunch of lies. They didn't want to go up there and have to act like the plan is still in place to sign Lamar Jackson to a long-term deal. I think this tells me that Lamar Jackson's going to be traded.
Wow.
And think about this.
Glenn,
Think about this.
hold on.
What
Give me
name? Okay, go ahead.
give me your logic. Give me
Okay,
your logic.
okay.
Because
Here's the first point.
ladies and gentlemen, if Glenn is saying this,
That's not good.
Glenn is the last one to hop off the ship here, like last second, about to run aground. That's a huge deal. So give me your logic.
Okay. So the first thing is name the last player who's publicly requested a trade who didn't get what they wanted. Because Orlando Brown said it, he's gone. Marquise wanted it, he's gone. Hayden Hurst actually didn't even make it public, did so privately, as far as I remember. He's gone. Chuck Clark, it waited a year. He's traded. So everyone who's demanded, especially publicly, is gone. So that's one thing. The second thing is, I find it hard to believe that the Ravens, first of all, I think the Ravens believe with all their heart that they are giving Lamar Jackson not only a fair and a just offer, but the best offer he'll get in the league, right? And this still isn't enough to convince him to sign the deal that's on the table. So I think that they are just going, man, do we really want to enter to kick the can down the road and have to go through this same scenario again, get dragged through the media once again, risk having a situation where one of my disgruntled players is on social media, counteracting or arguing about headlines that are popping up on social media and sports websites.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want to go through that again, Jimbo. And it just seems like there's always going to be a difficult negotiation. I think that Eric DeCosta truly believes in good faith negotiation. He says that statement many times. And he believes that in negotiations, there's give and take. And I think that after all the efforts, they're looking at like, man, I don't know if I want to keep trying to negotiate a contract with a guy who doesn't seem like he really wants to be here. So as disappointed as I am about having to say this, Jimbo, I think before the draft is over, and also, you're bringing in Anthony Richardson for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I find it hard to believe they're simply wasting everyone's time by having this guy in. Like, there's no way he gets to 22. You don't have the capital and draft wise to get anywhere close to where he's projected to go and expected to go. So how else would you even get this guy other than trading Lamar Jackson in order to get to the fourth pick or something like that? So unfortunately, I think he's gone, and I think he's gone before the draft.
Wow. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. See, it's incredible because my opinion, this. I mean, I go up and down, back and forth all the time on this. And I'm the exact opposite. I think that Lamar has dug his heels in so deep. And Eric's gotten to the point where he's like, okay, you don't want to play nice? Two can play that game. We believe you are the best quarterback for our franchise. And you're going to be under contract to play for this franchise. You can give up the money if you want to sit out and give up $32 million. But if not, Lamar Jackson, you are a quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens next year. Suck it up, my man. Suck it up. I feel like Eric is so done with trying to be patient and be nice and be understanding and be a mentor in a lot of ways and to walk Lamar through this contract situation. Because I don't care what anyone says. Eric has been spoon feeding Lamar Jackson through this process because he has to. Lamar Jackson has no experience doing this. None. So you have to lean on the people that, because how can you expect someone like that to be, Eric's been at the Baltimore Ravens for 28 years, negotiating contracts for how long, that there's no way he hasn't been helping Lamar to understand how this thing works. And so I think he's tired of it. And I think that I don't disagree with you. I totally get the logic that like Lamar, all these guys asked to be out and they're going to be out, but none of them, combined even compare to Lamar, what he is from a value perspective. And I think that the Ravens want a chance to see what they can do next year. My only reservation in saying that, and this might be what you're thinking, is that what Lamar are we getting? But, if he comes in late, if he doesn't, do all the extra stuff and he's not invested, but at the same time, Lamar is not a dummy. He knows that he's basically, he is on a 1-year deal. If he wants to get paid by anyone the following year, this has to be his best year. Has to be his best year. So let's get one more year, the best out of Lamar Jackson, then we'll call it quits. You know what I mean? So
But
I don't know.
He's gone for nothing.
For nothing. And I realize that, who knows, maybe they feel like once he plays well, time to mend fences, they do some sort of an extension or something like that. But I feel like there's no way Lamar's out of here. But that's interesting, Glenn. Wow.
Well, look, why would you said, you kind of took the stance of, well, Eric's going to say, tough, what's
tough luck, buddy.
Yeah, tough luck. I know you want to be out, but it's tough luck. That just doesn't seem like something that the Ravens would do because they only want guys that want to be there.
You're right, but you remember, let me tell you why. You remember when Kobe and his agent, Rob Pelinka, went to the Bulls and got an entire trade scenario set up for the he was ready to leave the Lakers, demanded a trade, was ready to go to the Bulls, all this stuff, right? Same thing. I've said it before. Robert or Mr. Bus came downstairs and said, Kobe, you're under contract, my man. You ain't going anywhere. It was a really short and sweet conversation. Kobe, I appreciate all the work you're doing, but you're Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you walk out the door. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson.
But he could walk after next year for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
nothing.
You're not wrong.
And then that's even worse. Like, what would you, unless they win the Super Bowl, that's worse. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I guess this is ultimately, let me know if you agree with me. Ultimately, what it comes down to is where Eric truly believes the state of this relationship lies.
Well, that's the question, right? We don't know that, but I will say Lamar Jackson's been awfully quiet. Maybe he's already gotten what he wanted. Maybe he's gotten news that he's already on the way out. And that's why all of a sudden we've heard nothing about, certainly nothing about the contract. We've seen activity on his feed, but nothing about the contract. So I'm wondering if he already knows something we don't know, or you're right. There could be a possibility that their relationship is strong and that behind closed doors, they're still a tight knit, while they're still not agreeing on a contract, they're still in a friendly situation. That could be the case, but man, I just feel like with all that's going on with the way the Ravens handled that situation yesterday, if he was our guy still, wouldn't they have just come out and said, that's our guy? Like all this time we've heard from John Harbaugh, we've heard nothing but 200%. That's my guy. I love him. I want him to be my quarterback. I mean, nothing but just showering him with praise and love. And then all of a sudden they don't even want to say the man's name. It just seems awfully like he's on his way out, man.
Yeah, you might be right. And that'd be really unfortunate. DK said, but DK, your previous comment, I think you were talking about really quickly. You're talking about the Ravens putting pressure on Lamar to sign, right? And that was the idea of Richardson. And then DK says here, maybe the Colts pick Richardson and then he becomes part of the package to be immediately traded to the Ravens. Interesting. That's a good point. I didn't actually think about that one, but logistically, that might just be easier, right? I don't know.
Well, because then you're not limited to just those two picks.
Right.
Because then you could go, well, let's do a sign and trade, and then we'll negotiate the terms, and those terms will include you drafting Anthony Richardson at fourth.
Oh my gosh, dude. So I'm just thinking about if. So would this? Do you think this happens? So they say, I'm just trying to feel the scenario out and roll it around the old think tank up here.
Don't hurt yourself.
I know, right? I start spelling and I'm already running at full capacity over here. Don't ask me how to spell Mississippi. The Colts draft him on draft night. The Colts draft him on draft night. Does the trade happen on draft night as well? So you said, like, are we getting those kind of fireworks? Is like the Eli Manning situation where it's like right after?
Yes.
Whoo,
Yes.
that would be not gonna lie, that would just be fun. Like from a pure entertainment standpoint.
Right, from a pure entertainment. But man, I was just talking to somebody today. I'm not ready to see Lamar Jackson in a different uniform. It's going to be tough. But Marcus says 100% with Glenn there on everything as far as trading Lamar and looking at Richardson. But I think it's a draft night trade. EDC likes the drama, in my opinion. Well, I'm not even so sure. Like, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to take Richardson. I just find it, he was one of the Ravens were one of the teams listed on his short list of visits. So that's why I bring his name up. But I'm not even definitely saying it's Richardson. It could be. It could be somebody else. I don't know about her. I know Herndon, is probably going to miss his rookie year, Tennessee quarterback. But a lot of people like Herndon. So I don't know if maybe they could say, we'll take I did see a rumor today, which I think has been dispelled, that they were kicking the tires on Carson Wentz. I would be I'd go down, I'd buy a carton of eggs. I'm egging the stadium if they sign Carson Wentz. I'm putting it to you like that. But maybe they do look at some sort of, I just feel like this team is so ready to win that I don't want to see like a quarterback who's not ready to go. Like, that's what's got me bummed out. Like, is there anyone who's ready to take a team to the Super? Because Richardson's got a lot of growth he's got to get done.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one except for maybe the top two guys who they're not getting to one or two. So
yeah,
I just don't see a win now quarterback left out there anywhere other than Lamar.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Now, I said this before the show. One of the things we do know, I believe, is unless you're paying Tom Brady a mid-level price, the single best advantage you can have as an NFL team is have a highly productive quarterback on a rookie deal, right? Because then if you get lucky, you can build around that guy almost a perfect team. If you get lucky, right? A very complete team.
Like the Eagles did with
like the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts. I mean, look at that team and the talent and the contracts they have on that. Yeah, I mean, it's just insane.
But they're going to pay their quarterback at the same time.
Yep.
They are fully,
and things will change.
And then you look around the league. This is a league dominated by great quarterbacks. And I don't want to be the one team without one.
Yeah, but don't you think there is going to be a team that bucks the system and says, "Oh, we'll just draft them and keep drafting them and keep drafting"?
They'll try.
And have this. If you have confidence in building around a quarterback and having a structure in place that's a quasi like plug and play scenario.
Yep.
Right. Then maybe you feel confident that every 5 years you can just rotate in. And, you know what I mean? It'd be ballsy.
Yeah, it's ball. You got to have conviction, like they say. If you're going to do something that far outside the box, you got to have conviction, because you're going to be in for a storm of scrutiny when it fails, if it fails.
Yeah, but statistically speaking, it's not even that far outside the box, right? If you're talking about, we've talked about how many teams have won outside of Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady on like basically a mid-level deal. How many teams, the top 10 quarterbacks, well, I think like 7 of them weren't even in the playoffs this year. The guys that got paid.
No, but look who did win the Super Bowl.
No, for sure. So if you got Patrick Mahomes, sure, hold on to him.
Well, I think next year, who do you predict to be in the Super Bowl? Or at least who do you predict to be in the AFC?
The Ravens.
The top 4 in the AFC. I think you're going to name all teams with great quarterbacks. And, I saw DK, he threw up the Niners. I don't know if that's a good, because they just traded 3 1s to get a guy in hopes to make him their franchise quarterback. And he ended up being the worst of the bunch, it looks like. Of course, pretty small sample size in the rain. Then he broke his leg. I think it was his leg, maybe his ankle. Eli Hoff says, what will it take to keep LJ next year? Or what do we do if we trade him this year? I don't think Huntley's the answer. By the way, isn't Huntley a free agent? He's not even on the team.
No,
as far as I know, he's a restricted free agent, but they put a low tender on him to where
they did.
They're not going to get
the Ravens
anything.
Have his rights.
Yeah.
They have his rights. So he's going to come back next year unless, like you said, somebody gives him an offer. And the Ravens can match.
Monken thinks he's the guy, because this is a totally, like, he was
saying,
here to be the backup for Lamar in Greg Roman's system. I don't even know if he's going to be back. And, hey, maybe Stetson Bennett is the quarterback that they take and they try and build around that guy. But answer Eli here, Jimbo. What do you think it'll take to keep LJ if they go the route you're saying? If they say, look, you're on the team, You're
Yeah.
playing under the franchise tag, and now they gotta spend the whole season trying to convince him to sign long term.
It's really easy. Do you want me to show you?
Just give him more money than everyone else.
Hold on.
They already tried that.
I just want to do this real fast. Hold on. There you go.
But they
Save my
already
stuff.
gave him the best offer out there, and that's why the phone isn't ringing right now. So, there he goes. But why is it? I don't think money's the answer because they've already given more money than anyone else.
No, but I mean Deshaun Watson money. Like they got to give him money. I don't know what else is the answer. No, I'm not saying they're gonna do it. But if you're asking me the question, what will it take? It's right here.
I
in
guess
front of
you're
you.
right. That's right.
Like if you're asking me,
231.
The other thing, no, I'm going to say it's money. To me, before, if you would have asked me that, I would have said some wide receivers, we win a Super Bowl, or we get a deep playoff run, something like that. But I don't believe that anymore. I've lost a little bit of faith in Lamar Jackson. Not all my faith, but I've lost a little bit of faith in what his motivators are.
It's money.
It's the green, and that's just what it is. So, and I can't fault him. I mean, dude, trust me, I'm a mercenary. if this guy down the street is going to offer me 150% more than I'm making now, bye. You know what I mean? Like that's just.
But the problem is there is no guy down the street right now.
Right. That's the thing. Lamar.
There's no one offering him more than what the Ravens have offered.
What's the saying about the bird, Glenn? It's, one hand in the bird is better than two in the bush. I mean, that's just how it goes. Dude, you got one hand. You got one bird in the hand.
Yeah.
Literally, you have a raven, dude.
But we've also seen the Ravens pull contract offers that were denied once and, go with the yesterday's prices and today's. Izana says, if I'm Joe, Jalen, or Justin, why am I taking less than Watson? If the Ravens are only $100 million apart, odds are the gap's closes sooner than later, in my opinion. Well, I don't know what they're going to get. I don't know what Joe, Jalen, or Justin are going to get, but I find it hard to believe any of those guys are getting 231 from the stance of the owners. Like, we haven't heard every owner come out and say things, but we've heard the most vocal of owners come out and say plenty of times that they don't believe in guaranteed contracts. So I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it.
And that's what we've been saying, Glenn, because it's not Lamar against the Ravens, guys. It's Lamar against all these owners. It's Lamar against the entire ownership of the NFL, right? And them not wanting to start a trend. It's just really that simple. Yeah, Any of you guys have grandpas that you've ever tried to convince of something? Forget grandpas. You ever tried to convince your dad of something? People hit a certain age, they're pretty set in their ways. Now, these guys not only are generally advanced in age, which means they're already going to be more staunch and set in their ways. They've also never been told no in their entire human existence.
Well, since they became wealthy, but Steve Bisciotti, I'm sure,
but a lot of them were born into it.
A lot of them are, yes.
I mean, look at the Mara
and it's
family.
only going to continue to get worse with the way things are headed. We saw the Walton family get into the business. Now we're seeing Bezos get it. It's getting richer and richer at the top.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, guys, you're not going to change their minds. And they have the purse strings. Lamar can have all the pull he wants within the NFL, but if you're talking about all, the owners of Walmart, Bezos, all these other guys, you're a drop in the bucket, dude. Drop in the bucket, right?
Yeah. DK says, do you think if those quarterbacks band together and say they're not signing unless everyone's contract is guaranteed, would it make a difference? Well,
I don't think they would do it.
I think if all of them did, it would probably, but I can't see them all doing that because that means they're going to turn down 175 or so million in guaranteed money, which is extremely hard to say.
And they already don't even like each other very much. You think Joe Burrow likes a lot of these other guys? His like, I know that sounds caveman-ish and simplest and like that's very like a shallow way of thinking, but it's just the truth. If I get my contract done in a competitive way where we're in the same neighborhood, but I got T. Higgins, well, then I'm flipping you the bird and saying, go get your money, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be over here throwing, you know what I mean? There's varying priorities. There's varying family situations. Everyone refers to Tom Brady's wife, ex-wife having made way more money than him. And ultimately, it doesn't even matter. He'll make more money from Fox in the next 10 years than he did in his entire NFL career. Incredible. But look, that also shows you that winning solves all problems. Take a lesson from the GOAT, Lamar Jackson. Winning solves it all. At the same time, Kobe never took a discount. Jordan never took a discount. It's different leagues too,
Well,
right?
they take a discount every time they signed a deal, and you know it because
no,
my
for
goodness,
sure.
I mean, there's no money they could have paid Michael that would have been enough for what he did for Chicago and basketball in general. Adam78 says we were saying Hendon Hooker will be available around 27 touchdowns, 2 picks in 11 games last season. Report he should be ready to go by camp. I didn't hear that report about being ready to go by camp. I like
he had the ACL, right?
But I think he's going to miss his entire first year.
He had the ACL, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's the knee.
Yep. Yeah, it was the ACL. Yeah. No, I haven't heard that report.
I like
That's
him though.
The case. Yeah,
like
definitely.
I don't know if he's going to be ready to win now. That's what I mean. I don't know. I just feel like this team is so close. They should have beaten the damn Bengals. If Huntley goes low, and everybody in here knows, I don't care if you're even a Bengals fan. If Lamar was starting that game, it would have been won handily. Yeah. So I just feel like they're this close, and to start over with a guy like Hooker, who even if he is ready at some point in his rookie year, he's not ready to carry a team to the damn Super Bowl. There's just no way. So, man, as much as I like, and I think maybe the top 2 guys could do that because they played in such big high-level games, but I don't even know if that's the case. They're still rookies making a big-time jump to the NFL.
Right. Let's be honest. When was the last time an Alabama quarterback Tua has flashed last year, but is Tua a top-tier guy? You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts, does he count as an Alabama guy or an Oklahoma guy? You know what I mean? I don't know how much faith I have in. To me, that's always the tricky part about grading college quarterbacks, because when you go to Alabama, when your entire offensive line could be in the NFL tomorrow.
Yeah.
When will you ever have that advantage again in the NFL? You will never have such disparity in those that are on your team in comparison to your opposition.
Well, that gap's closing, though.
In college, you're saying? Sure. Yeah.
There's more parity than there was a few years ago.
Not comparison to the NFL, though. I think that's fair. But yes, absolutely.
But Alabama isn't just destroying everybody that they play. I mean, Georgia back to back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, Jalen Carter, how do you grade him? I mean, he's looked incredible, but look at the boys that were next to him.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, dude can't even make it through a workout.
It's tough. Yeah.
Now, really quickly, Glenn, I want to go back to Michael Jordan really quick, because one of the best quotes I heard of all time, Gilbert Arenas said, Michael Jordan will be the greatest of all time because Michael Jordan got the entire NBA off cocaine in the 80s. Said he was so good, the guys couldn't play anymore and still do coke every day. Wow. He was too good. He rid the NFL, the NBA of the entire cocaine epidemic.
He made them all take. It's like Tiger, everybody was had a body like me on the PGA Tour until Tiger got there, and all of a sudden everybody is good on PGA now.
Yeah, because he was doing his Navy SEAL training back in the day. Dude.
I was like, damn, this dude's whipping our ass. Maybe I should have some washboard abs like this guy. Things can change really quick. Let's see. Azana says last 4 years we were 32nd in offensive spending. I always see this, and look, I know I'm going to be called a defense, but you have to look at what that they didn't have a quarterback that was making a lot of money, so you got to cross all the teams off that have a quarterback in his second contract. Boom, you can't even count them against the Ravens. Then we saw countless poor contracts given out to offensive players the last couple of years at the wide receiver position specifically, that I wouldn't have wanted them to spend the money. They were spending money to have guys sitting on the damn sidelines or in the trainer room. So I'm okay with that. You got to look at it case by case. If they had reached the deal that is proposed to, or supposedly was proposed to Lamar Jackson, had he signed it, where would they be at would they be at 32nd had they had signed Lamar? I mean, no, not even close.
Right.
So it's you just want them to frivolously spend. You just want them to spend. Who is available? I'll ask this very simple question. People can put the names in the list in the chat. Name the players that were available in free agency the last 3 years that they missed out on. Give me the names that went on and were phenomenal, that were available in free agency the last 3 years that they missed. Name one name. I don't think you'll have any because all the big time free agents ended up being garbage. So you want to tell me that the Giants got return on their investment for Kenny Galladay?
Ugh, not a chance.
Hell no. And that's the guy that everybody wanted the Ravens to take. He was horrible.
Yeah, I know.
He
I
had-
did for sure.
What did he make? More in millions than he had like total catches or something. It was, I mean, this guy.
Well, I think snaps, something crazy like that, right? It was just ridiculous.
I mean, look, I agree they need to balance that out, but I think they were trying to. They just weren't frivolously giving money out to any guy who wanted, to have a couple of dollars in his pocket. And if they would have signed Lamar, I'm sure they would have jumped way up on that list from 32nd. So I'm just not, I mean, I get it. They need to do better, but not just frivolously spend.
Yeah. I want to see here what people, someone said Bobby Wagner, but obviously
they tried to sign Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Wagner played the Ravens into a bigger contract to stay on the West Coast, and they took that money and gave it to Roquan.
Right.
But by the way, they're talking about offense. But.
Yeah. So somebody said DJ Chark, D-Hop, Juju, the other wide receiver from
D-Hop was not available. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember him being available. How long ago did he sign the Arizona deal? I mean, he's been there for what, 3 years, 2 years?
And he was traded there.
Right. and then he signed the extension. DJ Chark.
They tried for Juju.
Yeah.
You're gonna blame the Ravens because Juju decided to take more money and go to Kansas, or a little bit less money and go play for Kansas City. Yeah. I don't really, it's not like they didn't try. Yeah, exact. T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, they could have gotten T.Y. It's just Quan says, will players who are getting close to their 30s be happy in 2 years? If Lamar leave and we have losing seasons, do the vets request a trade? Well, if Lamar's gone, I mean, John already said they're probably going to have one of the youngest teams in football next year. They don't have a lot of old guys. Guys getting close to they just don't have a ton of them. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that if there's a guy getting to the later parts of his career and he thinks this team isn't in position to make a run at it, then maybe, yeah. But there's not a lot of guys like that on the team. Calais is gone. Who's an old head left? There ain't a lot of old heads left. Morgan Moses, he'll be gone contractually by then.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great, and it's partly because John has said it. We like our guys, and there's guys that you don't want to sign in front of them because there's, you're still developing those guys, and that's fair. I'm not saying at every position, like I don't like James Prochet at this point, but at other positions, there's guys we haven't really seen a ton of that we'll be looking forward to see. But I think the other thing too is that, look, if Lamar doesn't sign and we don't draft a quarterback, inevitably, Glenn, I think you'll agree with me here, the goals of this team from a roster construction standpoint will change.
Big time.
They have to, right? I mean, you're going to keep developing young guys, but I think, you'll see the Ravens make some significant moves. I don't think the Ravens will ever be, I'm trying to think of a good example of a team that just started like wholesale, like the Jags. Remember after the after the Urban Meyer situation, they started wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Ravens will ever be in that situation, maybe, but I don't see it. At least while Eric DeCosta is there.
Where they
but
tank?
Yeah, where they just start, right.
Yeah, it's not
but
in their DNA.
Right, but certainly the goals and the way they construct the roster will change. Period.
Well, look, if you believe the fact that they said we don't believe in peaks and valleys as an organization. We believe in always competing for championships as best we can, putting the best team on the field every year, not tanking. How else, if they don't think that they can get Lamar Jackson to be on board, there's no way they can think they can win unless they trade him. There's just no way, because they can't just think that they're gonna sign something. I just can't imagine the Ravens going, all right, we're gonna sign Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson. He's gonna end up leaving, and we're just gonna have a shitty year this year. I don't think they're looking at it that way. I think they're going, how can we win this year and then win next year and then win the year after that? And so the only way is if Lamar's playing or he gets traded for a very a ready to go player now, at least in their eyes, whether that's a draft pick or someone else. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me ask you this: how shocked would you be if the Titans traded for him and they included Tannehill in the trade package?
How shocked would I be if the Titans traded for Lamar Jackson included Tannehill? Is it Tannehill a free agent?
Is he?
Or does he still have a year left or something? Okay, so
I thought he was
yeah, I
still
think
under
he still has a
contract.
year
I could be
existing.
wrong. Okay.
Right. No, you're right. I apologize because people have already been talking about him being on the trade block. So how shocked would I be if Lamar went up to the Titans? I wouldn't be shocked. Just because you say he's a perfect bridge candidate. And if Monken and we look, Tannehill's best years, I don't want Tannehill. I've never been a believer in the guy. No offense to him,
but with a good run game, play action,
and play action, we've seen
He's
him
had some
absolutely
crazy
ball
years. Yes.
out.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't hate it. So I think what you're trying to paint a picture is that like they're gonna find if they're offloading Lamar, they're gonna find a way to remedy the issue in some way, shape, or form. They're not just gonna leave this, gaping hole for them to try and fill with Tyler Huntley.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
By the way, in 2020, Ryan Tannehill had 65% completion percentage, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks.
That's incredible.
Now he had the best running
2020
game in football.
Now that was their year they went to the AFC Championship game, lost to the Chiefs.
Yep.
So they were up 21 points or something crazy.
Handling them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not like that's how I envision the Ravens doing this. Not going with a rookie and just having a crappy year. I don't see him doing that. I just can't. I can see him taking a rookie late that they can have sit behind a guy like Tannehill. Doesn't have to be Tannehill. Could be another guy, but I just feel like, man, he seems like the perfect bridge quarterback, like you mentioned. But, man, I hope I'm wrong still, Jimbo. I'm saying all this and still hoping
and I'm
that
still
I'm
in
way
shock.
wrong.
I know. I'm still in shock that you have deduced from this that they are going to be moving on from Lamar Jackson, which I'm not in shock that like one could think that. But, of course, I'm in shock because I didn't think that you would come to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think it until after that presser yesterday. Jersey Mike says, after watching simply video of Joe best runs, I'm not ready for Lamar to leave. LOL. Every time I hear drafting QBs, I have nightmares of Kyle Bowler. LOL. Yeah, I did see that same video. Your boy was getting it done out there. It looks so funny. Yeah, it don't look as smooth when Joe did it. Lamar looks way. I mean,
that's not fair.
It's
right?
not even a fair comparison to put a video of Joe running next to Lamar. It's laughable, but he did have some pretty big runs in his career.
On that, what game was that where he had the catch?
Oh my goodness, that was his
from
rookie
Troy
year.
Smith, right?
Wasn't it his rookie year? Yeah, on the left sideline.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was about the fastest that guy moved in his entire career, probably.
Yeah. And speaking of Kyle Bowler, I was helping someone today at work, and it was actually I had all 3 generations. I was helping grandmother, mother, and the young girl there. And grandmother had the biggest crush on Kyle Bowler, brought him up and everything. We got a celebrity in the building, Jimbo.
Who?
We got Dr. Uncle Bob in the building. Yes, sir. He says, great show, guys. Jimmy's hair looks great tonight. Now, his hair is under a cap. I'm
Maybe
feeling like
making fun.
The big reveal will be draft night. We're going to pull some magic again. Yeah, I see it coming, man. And I didn't think that until that response. I mean, the fact that they wouldn't speak about the man, it just tells me they didn't want to go up there and tell a bunch of lies and be called a liar in what is it? 2 weeks? When is it? When's the draft? 3 weeks? I think it's like 3 weeks away. They didn't want to be called a liar because they knew they'd have to go up there and go, that's our guy. We're still talking. We still want him. And then 3 weeks later, he's gone and they're going to go, why'd you lie to us?
Yeah.
So they were ducking the questions.
Oh my, Bobby, it will be interesting to see. I tell you what, like I said, from a pure entertainment standpoint, man, it would be crazy to see how everyone just lights up after this. Glenn, I have some sound, those like sound reduction headphones that like children. I have one set for my son because I'm hoping to take him to like a sporting event. Yeah, something like that. I'll bring them for you because.
Oh, you're going to lose it?
Oh my God.
I'm glad you have them, actually.
I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this to my microphone. Can you hear hear me right now?
Barely.
Yeah, I'm just gonna so I can scream in it.
Just yeah, but my ear doesn't have that off. Yeah, you know what I mean? I can't turn that part down.
She's gonna look right at you.
What the hell just happened? Now, what about look? We can't ignore the fact that Cam Newton came out.
And you're gonna be a jinx for the rest
What?
of this show. You'll be a jinx.
What?
You called it. You called it into existence, Glenn. You will have manifested it.
What?
It will be your fault forever.
No.
Forever.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Robbie Pate says, will the Ravens try and get Cam just in case? Now, we did see Cam Newton come out, put out a video saying that, look, I'm not worse. There's not 32 better quarterbacks in the world than me. But here's a small list of guys I'm willing to back up. And Lamar Jackson, I think, was second on the list behind this serial pervert, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. I know that Cam Newton has a lot of I don't know the best way to say this. He has a lot of old school type takes, some relatively questionable takes. He's certainly from the South. No offense to anyone from the South, but he's certainly a product of the South.
Okay.
All that being said, Cam Newton is awesome in the locker room by all accounts.
Hard worker.
Absolutely believe in
First in,
Cam
last
Newton
out.
busts his butt.
Yep.
And the dude is a freak of nature. Cam Newton will be better than half the backups in the NFL. 3 years out of the league doing nothing.
Yeah, all the backups right now, for sure.
I was going to say something crazy. Like at 45 years old, right? Like doing nothing because he's a freak athlete.
And he played a lot of games in it, so he's got a lot up here too.
Yeah, I mean, has anyone just seen how small the football looks in Cam Newton's hands?
This is just a monster.
It's like Shaq drinking a bottle of Deer Park.
Oh my goodness. Seeing him hold a can of Coke. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I love this. I think go get him. Who's better? Who cares if Cam Newton brings some more reporters and you know what I mean? Like whatever.
No, absolutely. If Lamar
cares?
Jackson is signed here long term, or if he's on the frame,
if you got question marks about it, bring in
Cam Newton in as a backup, not as a starter.
As a backup, 100%.
But I feel a lot better if in week 14, 15, and 16, Lamar Jackson, whoever else is sidelined due to an injury, I'd feel a lot better Cam Newton goes in there than Tyler Huntley. No doubt this guy's played in the biggest games, a former MVP. This is a guy who's been to a Super Bowl and has won games at the highest of levels. And absolutely.
And let me tell you what, at the goal line.
Oh, put him in.
Dude, I'm saying if Cam was in at that Bengals game.
Oh, come on.
Even if he went up high, ain't nobody reaching. He's 6'5".
High, low, I don't care what he backwards. He's going backwards.
He's got the strongest grip. He weighs 280,000 pounds. He's a linebacker, dude. Like, the dude is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't want them to go Cam as our guy.
No.
That's what I don't want.
What if he was would you be okay with him being our bridge? They moved off of Lamar. They signed Cam. Cam is now our bridge quarterback.
And then they get like Herndon maybe in the draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, all right, we can live with it because how much better could you make this scenario?
But they can't sit up there and try and convince us that they're ready to win that like now if they do that.
Well, they'll try, but you're right.
But I mean,
right. Just be reasonable, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. That would be hilarious if they really. But correct me if I'm wrong. Is Tyler Huntley, he is not on this team currently, right?
No, he is like you said, he's a restricted free agent, right? So the way I understand it, you know what?
I don't know. It's free agent. When I hear the words free agent, that means he's not currently on the team. So I don't know if he fits what Todd Monken's trying to do. So I think Tyler Huntley's out of the picture. That's what I think. You know, I think we've seen enough of Tyler Huntley. And I know look, I'm not going to beat him up, but let's look at his record. What's he, 2-8 as a starter?
Yeah, it ain't good.
It ain't good.
But look, the dude, kudos to him. He's gonna make himself some money as a backup for a while, I think.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I just don't want to see us go, all right, well, he's our guy now that we don't have Lamar.
Yeah. I'd take Cam over him any day.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hate to say it, I feel bad about it. But let me ask you, What was that? Oh, what do you think about them declining to answer about Pat Queen? What do you?
Yeah, that was interesting too, right?
Yeah, like
Is it? I wonder if he's also on the move. I tell you what, maybe the Ravens do make a move at draft night, but it's just including, it's around Pat Queen, right? Maybe it has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. Maybe they pick up a second rounder or a third. I don't know if they can get a second rounder for Pat Queen, but
heck no.
yeah,
I think if they got a fourth, I'd be like, that's a home run.
ecstatic, right? Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but I guess you never know. I mean, Eric DeCosta's pulled off some pretty amazing trades in the past, but let's see. King Ray 48 says, my bad for the off-topic question, but who do you believe is the best wide receiver and tight end in
No, these are fun.
Ravens history for me? It's Anquan Bolden for King Rave. So are we asking, is it like we're putting both, like all pass catchers in one group, or are they asking
I think he's saying best wide receiver and best?
Because he only gave us
actually,
Anquan.
yeah, you're right.
Well, if you can only pick one pass catcher, Jimbo, in the history of the Ravens, just one tight end or
this
wide
is
out.
not my answer. This is not my answer. But sometimes I think it would have been cool to see Todd Heap in a more pass happy era.
Certainly.
But you know what my answer is? If you're going wide receiver and tight end, we caught him on the back end, but Anquan ain't Shannon Sharp. Shannon
Sharp was only here for 2 years.
I know, but you're asking me who the best one was. I mean, you're asking me who the best one. I think Shannon's the most gifted pass catcher we've had.
But Mark Andrews had a better year.
Yeah, but think about that team, dude. Like,
yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? That's not fair.
I'm just saying, Shannon Sharp's main chunk of his career that made him Shannon Sharp was not here.
It wasn't. But okay, if that can't be my answer, well, then I think that disqualifies Anquan too, right?
Well, Anquan was here for 3 years and won a title.
Well, Shannon was here for 2 and won a title.
That's true. All right, we can put him on there. But Anquan, to me, still did his most memorable work in a Ravens uniform.
I wonder how because
you put the most memorable work up.
Yeah. I wonder how the statistics would bear out because he had some big years.
I'll tell you what, I think we're sleeping on Derek Mason, bruh.
No, that's fair. Derek Mason is top 3, but he's not the best.
Why not?
But he's top 3. Well, Derek Mason is not arguably in the Hall of Fame.
No, but Derek Mason was here how many years? And every year.
And we caught Derek at the back end, didn't we? He was at Tennessee for how long?
I'm about to look him up. Yeah, I mean, he was. And then we can't forget, even also brief, what, Steve Smith, when he was here, I mean, your boy made some noise, bruh.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, Steve was great.
Let's see here. Derek Mason. I mean, my goodness. We forget about how good he was when he was here.
Yeah,
because he didn't have.
Derek Mason is the number one reason.
Oh, he's got to be it. He's it. Look,
why Joe Flacco ended up being a successful quarterback, because he did so much for Joe's psyche and being a safety blanket, the security blanket at the beginning of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he helped Joe Flacco out so much.
Dude, he's here for 6 years. His best season, he had 103 catches, Jimbo.
Yeah.
His worst season as a Raven, he had 61 on 100 targets. Like, it's got to be Derek Mason, man. He had an 80 catch season, 73 catches, 86 for 100. I mean, this guy, he went over 1,000 yards.
I've never seen anyone work the sideline like Derek Mason to this day.
I could tell you the next 3 balls thrown to him are going to be on out routes, and he's catching all 3 of them.
Oh, with his pinky toes in the green. I mean, just incredible, dude. He was incredible. That's fair. I mean, if you're counting years here, like all those things included into the equation, that's fair. Absolutely. But I think that's important, because this is an argument that I've started to shift on. Before, I used to think that peak was more impressive than longevity, because you could say, well, Anquan's peak was higher because of the impactful plays and the Super Bowl run, things like that. But the longevity that Mason had was so impressive. In the 6 years, and that
we're talking about a postseason run. But if you just stack up their regular season numbers, Mason's got them there as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. But right, we're just strictly talking about those moments, all the highlights you see.
It's a good discussion though. But
yeah, Perryman. Someone put Perryman. Oh.
I mean, even the tight end question alone with Heap and Sharp and
that's what I'm saying. Don't you think it would be fun to see Todd Heap? Yeah, it'd be fun to see Todd Heap today.
Oh my goodness.
Because Todd was not he was not a bludgeon. He wasn't a hand in the dirt, slow.
But he could block.
He could block, but what I mean is that he has the athleticism, I think, to play today.
For
to keep
sure.
up. He had the length, he had hands. Every time he caught the ball, he got rocked
Destroyed.
into tomorrow.
Yep.
Every time. Like, I'd be shocked if he can still spell his name.
Yeah, he had some pretty brutal hits. Especially, I
Yeah.
remember back in those rivalries with the Steelers, man.
And they would just smash his knees. I swear, every other play, he would just flip over the defender.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to take him on.
No, yeah. So that's a good question. That's a fun one. Holy crap, it's 9:10.
Look at that.
I hadn't looked at the clock in a minute. Jeez,
Living legend. Appreciate it, man.
we got to do more of this, dude. Ravens history stuff and random questions.
Oh, and by the way, I can't believe I forgot this. The last reason why I think he's gone is that they talked about, look, Eric DeCosta said that the goal right now is to acquire more picks.
yeah.
Well, what's the best way to get a bunch of
that's
picks?
the best way for sure.
Well, I don't know if it's the best way, but it's the best way to acquire the most cumulative picks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so
But it's not the only way.
It's not the only way. No.
He also did say basically we've traded back for the past 9 years. So you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to trade back.
I think he said they made a draft day trade the last 9 years, but I don't know.
Back.
Oh, well, we're not talking about just in the first round. We're talking at some point in the draft.
Just in general. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
To pick, because they were referencing wanting more picks.
Yeah. Well, they'll definitely do that, but I think they're going to get a whole lot more in a different way.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what. I'm going way out on a limb here. The Baltimore Ravens are taking someone on the defensive front first round. Everyone's going to hate it, and I'm going to laugh. I'm calling it, though.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about the positions that take multiple players to play it being ones you got to draft every year. Defensive lineman, corner, pass rush. I mean, those are all guys that they think you got to take every year. So, yeah. Was it Barmore? Barmore?
Barmore, yep.
Yeah. Could be another scenario where a guy like that drops and right into the lap. Maybe it's the Georgia guy who's getting all the, that's got all the off the field questions, but they
Monken knows him.
Exactly. Maybe Todd's going, it's all a bunch of BS. He's going to fall right into our laps. He's a great guy.
Yep. Yeah, definitely not a ton. Well, anyway, we can get to that another night. Great guy, loose term. Anyway, I think that's it for us tonight, folks.
Yeah. That's it, but I have
Shout
a
out to all
feeling
you guys are coming out. Dude,
No
256 tonight. Did you see that?
going
Okay.
right now. We were up near 3 a little bit earlier, but
Shout out to you guys. Oh, let's get this last one from Laura. Oh, my bad. Laura said, my bad. Laura says Ravens have really not in a good light, not necessarily their fault. And I've always, I thought you were about to say them, thought of them as being a classy team. So just looking at it, not respect. I'm done. Ooh. I think she's trying to say the Ravens just, yeah, she.
Well, look,
I'm done.
Some of this stuff,
anytime someone ends a text message with "I'm done,"
that's not.
Harlem.
That's not good. And now look, they look bad, but I think some of it, like you mentioned, isn't completely their fault. Now this last presser,
I didn't mention that. That was their fault. The presser was their fault.
Laura did.
Oh.
She said not necessarily their fault, and I think some of it isn't necessarily
That's
their
true.
fault. But the presser, that was fault.
dirty though. I don't know if dirty is. That was borderline dirty what Lamar did, dropping the tweet.
Any chance?
Right.
Any chance?
Nope.
It's coincidental.
Nope. Not a chance. Not a snowball's chance.
Then there is no borderline. It's dirty.
Well, maybe
because all
what
I'm
I'm
heard
saying
from
is
Harbaugh is love towards Lamar, and he sets him up.
Maybe Lamar thought that. I don't think Lamar's intention was just to set up Coach. Maybe he thought that Eric and Bisciotti were going to be there too.
No.
Because wasn't Bisciotti there last year?
Yeah, but he didn't knew. Come on, if you're telling me it was intentional, then it was against Coach.
Now,
because
see, that's tough.
He's
I
watching the interview. Like, what? I don't understand.
No, but he did it before the interview started. Before I went up.
But nobody's expecting Steve Bisciotti to talk. If he talks,
right.
it's like, oh, he's talking.
But I think that's pretty messed up because I don't think Lamar should have a bone to pick with John. John doesn't control this.
John would love to have Lamar
back. It's that simple.
Because
like you can't be John.
Give him a chance to win.
Right. And anytime he hasn't bought in, if you feel that way, you can't be mad at John for us understanding who signs his check.
Right.
Like,
And the fact that that guy's sitting with the checkbooks going, nobody else is going to give him more than this. So why am I making this number bigger?
Right.
When no one else will make this number bigger.
Right. It's bad business. Bad business. So that's all. That's all for us tonight, folks. Shout out to all you guys for coming out. Thank you so much. We will be back on Tuesday night. We're going to put out some videos for you guys. We'll keep you all up to date on your Ravens stuff. Great show tonight, Glenn. Great show tonight, DK. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great weekend. And of course, if anything breaks, we'll be here. Tomorrow is our 11-year anniversary for my wife and I. Shout out to my wife for dealing with me for 11 years. Dude, freaking babies when we got married. Gosh, dude. Goodness gracious.
You still look like a baby.
Well, I'll take that. We were looking at some pictures and I was like, I'm getting old. So anyway, all that being said, shout out to all you guys for coming out tonight. Have a great one and we'll talk soon.